Hello everyone, I hope you're all doing well. Today I'm previewing another fun rogue deck, which is Venusaur EX and Ogerpon EX. Venusaur is a deck I've been trying to make work for a while. I did try it in the last format, and while you could get the Venusaurs out consistently with Arven, the energy acceleration was always a problem because we only had Gardenia's Vigor, which just didn't really work. When Pokemon released Ogerpon in the newest set Twilight Masquerade, I thought this might be a better partner, and certainly from the testing it does seem to work a lot better than before. So the idea of the deck is that you use Ogerpon for both draw and energy acceleration. You move the energies up to the Venusaur, and that will kind of sit in the active, tank hits, and use its own attack, Dangerous Toxwhip. Its own attack only does 150, which isn't brilliant, but it does confuse your opponent, and that can be quite annoying because if you're not knocking them out, then they either have to attack through confusion or retreat, which will burn energies to attack you with a fresh Pokemon. It is important to note that Tranquil Flower can actually be used more than once per turn, even though the Pokemon has to be inactive for using switches. So if you have a damaged Venusaur in the active, you can use its own ability on itself, then you can switch into a fresh Venusaur and use its ability on the damaged Venusaur on the bench, so you can actually heal up to 120 or 180 per turn through switch cards. And then we also have Radiant Tisserina to increase the healing per turn, and lastly the Hero's Cape to increase Venusaur's HP to 440. So it's a tanking deck, not unlike we've seen in the past. So in terms of Pokemon then, we've got a 3-1-3 line of Venusaur EX. This is not a conventional Stage 2 deck which would play a thicker line like a 4-2-3 or a 4-1-3. Usually you will use Ogerpon to attack at least once or twice, and you might get out 1 or 2 Venusaurs each game, so I find that 3-1-3 is enough for the deck to function. You've got Ogerpon for energy acceleration, draw, and as a backup attacker. It's just an all-rounder in this deck. It's what makes the deck work essentially. And then lastly we've got the Radiant Tisserina, which I've already talked about, which just increases your healing potential. It is important to note that Radiant Tisserina does have an annoying 2 retreat cost, so you want to bench it on the turn you're actually using it as opposed to preemptively benching it, because it can get bench trapped. It's the same with Bulbasaur. Bulbasaur has a 2 retreat cost, which is why generally you don't want to bench 2 at the start of the game in case one gets bench trapped. Moving on to supporters then, we do have quite a high count of draw supporters. We've got 3 Professor's Research and 4 Iono, and the reason I've got that is just because even though Ogerpon does give you some extra draw power, it's not really enough to be a proper draw engine, so I find the deck does still need a high number of draw cards. We've got the 4 Arven just because there's a lot of trainers you want to find. You know, it allows you to find Hero's Cape. Energy Switch is really important for finding to moving the energy around, which allows you to attack with both Ogerpon and Venusaur. We can get you TM Evolution to get into the Ivysaur, we can get you Rare Candies. It's just an all-round great card in this deck. So I've got the full 4 count, and then lastly we've got 2 Boss's Orders. You could go up to 3, I found 2 generally to be enough just because you are a tanking deck. You're not really looking to aggressively go after bench targets and such. Moving on to trainer cards then, we've got the 4 Bug Catching set. I think this is a fantastic card in general for sort of grass decks, like being able to get energy and grass Pokemon is just excellent, so we've got the full 4 count. You definitely want to find these early game to get your Ogerpons out and sort of start drawing through Teal Dance. You've got the 4 Energy Switch, which allows you to move energies from your Ogerpons onto the Venusaur. It also allows you to move energies between Ogerpons, which can allow you to sort of attack pretty early with Ogerpon if you want to. It's quite common to get a turn to attack with Ogerpon just through using an Energy Switch. Then we have the 4 Nest Ball. So originally I had a split between Nest Balls and Buddy Buddy Puffin because it is a Stage 2 deck. Sometimes you would want to find your Bulbasaur, but actually I found that the the nest ball was always more valuable because it allows you to find Bulbasaur and Ogerpon, and the extra value you get from Buddy Buddy Puffin in being able to search out a second Bulbasaur is not really worth it for this deck, because you're not trying to flood the board of Bulbasaurs early, you're just trying to get one or two out to allow them to build up into Venusaurs while you attack with your Ogerpons in the early game. So I found that Nest Ball was always more valuable, so I just completely cut the Buddy Buddy Puffin and went for the 4 Nest Ball. 1 TM Evolution, which you can search up with Arven if you want to evolve into Ivysaur on the first turn, but it's not really essential, it's just there if you want to use it. 1 Super Rod for recovery, 2 Ultra Ball. So I usually find that bug catching set is enough to get you most of what you need, so the Ultra Ball is only really useful for finding the Venusaurs when you need it, so I've got 2 of those. I don't think you need any more. Then got 1 Switch, which allows you to double up on the Venusaur healing, and it also allows you to get the Tisserina or the Bulbasaur out the active if they get bench trapped because of that high retreat cost. I actually would like to increase that to 2, but yeah, I'm still sort of figuring out the list in some ways. Then we've got the 3 rare candies just to get into your Venusaurs. I find most of the time you are attacking with Ogerpon in the early game, you don't usually go for TM Evolution, so you're usually looking for rare candies in the mid to late game to get into that Venusaur. I didn't talk about the Hero's Cape, but that's just in there to increase Venusaur's HP to 440, which is quite difficult for most decks to deal with. Moving on to energies then, we have 15 Grass Energy, which I know does seem pretty high, but I think when you're running a deck that is reliant on Ogerpon, you know, you need to be playing a higher count, and certainly when I'm testing, you're always looking for Grass Energy. You want to be teal dancing every turn, you want to be playing energy switches. I've played the deck with a lot of different counts, and I found that 15 was the right number. So yeah, that's the list. Now we're just going to move on to some games. Alright, so that's us into a game. Opponent has started Iron Bundle, so it could potentially be Lost Zone, it might be Shenpao. We'll see. It's Lost Zone, okay. So the Lost Zone matchup is actually not too bad, because they don't really have a lot of big damage dealers, so you can tank through a lot of the damage that they do. The issue will be if they have Roaring Moon EX, but the Lost Zone that just won at NAIC didn't have Roaring Moon in it. Okay, so we've not got the best start, to be honest. I'm going to assume this Bulbasaur is going to go down to a Cramorant next turn. We could attach the Hero's Cape, hope it lives, but the Lost Zone decks do usually play a lot of Lost Remover. I'm going to play Arven for Bug Catching Set, and Evolution, as we need to get the Ogerpon into play. Start drawing, and we unfortunately did not draw an Ogerpon. So I think we get rid of the rare candy, grass, grab an Ogerpon, use Teal Dance. I'm gonna have to go for TM Evolution most likely this time. There's an Iona, that's not too bad. Attach there. And do we want to play Hero's Cape now? Probably not. Okay, let's Evolution. I don't really want to play the Hero's Cape until we actually have the Venusaur up and running. If I attach it to Ivysaur and they knock it out with Prime Catcher or something, then we'll lose it for nothing. Yeah, ideally you'd want to get multiple Ogerpon into play and start flooding the board with energy, get the draw power going, but we didn't manage to achieve that. Yeah, they got the Prime Catcher, so a Cramorant, they'll be able to Prime Catcher the Ivysaur up to knock out a Cramorant. But a Ogerpon with 3 energies will return, knock out a Cramorant. Now they're going for Iron Thorns. Interesting. They've not got enough cards in Lost Zone currently to play Gate. Oh, they do now. They're gonna Hyper Blow it. Okay, I'll just put up the Ogerpon. So the Iron Thorns EX, it shuts off our ability, shuts off Teal Dance. Which is gonna hurt in terms of draw power, but it does. Okay, they're going for the Ivysaur anyway. Yeah, I thought that was the Pokemon they would have wanted. So fortunately we have the E-Switch to be able to attack into the Iron Thorns. And we can use Hero's Cape. I think I'll just attach it now. Okay, we can bug catching set to try and find another Ogerpon, but we can't attach energy to it with Teal Dance. It's probably still worth going for it. There's 2 grass energies. Okay, we'll Myriad Leaf Shower for 180. So even though the Iron Thorns is annoying, actually, because it doesn't do much damage, it kind of gives us a bit of time to set up the board. So if they're not able to KO the Bulbasaur this turn, we can often, for the rare candy, get the Venusaur into play. There's Fluttermane. Okay, so they got rid of the Hero's Cape. I thought it might have been safe given they'd already played a Lost Remover. Yep, they got the double switch, so they can move out the active if they want to. And the problem with playing against these decks is you don't really know what attackers they've got. I know there'll be a Sableye, Iron Hands, and Iron Thorns. I would guess they're trying to go for an Iron hands play on the Bulbasaur, or just trying to knock out the Bulbasaur. I'm going to gate, potentially onto the Flutter Mane, knock out the Bulbasaur. Oh no, back into Iron Thorns. Potentially go for a Hyper Blower. No, just going for a Volt Cyclone. Okay, so we're going to be able to knock out the Iron Thorns this turn. Could go for a Pokestop here, see if we can get Rare Candy without having to waste an Arvent. That's not going to work out for us, so we'll get the Arvent, grab Rare Candy, no tools. Evolve into Venusaur, will attach energy, still can't Teal Dance. Could get another Ogerpon out in case I get Ionoed. That's safe from being Greninja attacked. Let's do that. And let's attack into Iron Thorns. I mean, benching the extra Ogerpon means they still have to go through Venusaur to win the game. It's not a huge risk. It's unlikely I'd be able to get another Venusaur out. So next turn, probably going to lose the Ogerpon, which means we'll promote the Venusaur. And then we need to find an energy plus an energy and E-switch to attack with it. And I've only used one E-switch so far, so the odds would be not bad. Actually down to one card in debt. It's pretty low for this stage of the game. I mean, they will have cards like Power Pad and Super Rod, but still a lot. Okay, looks like they're going to try and set up the, yeah, and then they can't attack the... Yeah, I thought they might have overlooked that, because you can't attack Terra Pokemon on the bench. Okay, need an E-switch here, so I'll go for one Teal Dance. Bug catching set. Don't really want to use bug catching set. Sorry, I don't really want to put down another Ogerpon to try and find the E-switch. So I'm just gonna go Pokestop, try to get it that way. There's the E-switch, that's good. Alright, that's good. So now we can Iono this turn. I thought I was going to have to research to try and find the E-switch, but I don't need to do that anymore. So we will Iono, put them down to 3. And we'll knock out the Greninja. Okay, now you can see that. Yeah, so that, I mean, I guess you got a good idea of how the deck works, but